Good evening.
Evening, Ele.
Great. Just checking my audience there. Thank you, Shadi. Maybe let's just give the others to join, maybe 3 more minutes, and then we'll start at 18:05. I see that we had a couple of candidates who confirmed attendance, and I still see that it's just 11 of us. Maybe let's give them 5 more minutes. Good evening, team. I think we can start now, and those who are still to join us will just find us along the way. Just checking again if I'm audible and you can also see my screen.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm seeing some of a couple of people who I've interacted with. It's good to see you here. And once more, thank you very much for gracing us with your presence, for just joining us to make sure that we can just converse and interact in terms of what we have in store for you. But this session really is an interactive session. So please feel free to always make sure that you also come in if you have any aspect which you need clarity or anything just to elevate further. So please, the session is for all of us so that we make sure that by the time we finish the session, we are all aligned and we are all in the same wavelength. But maybe without further ado, my name is Ererwani. I'm part of the team who's gonna be driving the session tonight. I am joined by my other team members. So I think first and foremost is that if you have any question, let's use the basic protocol, raise your hand, and we will acknowledge you and let you, that's when you can unmute your mic and speak. But also, please do not limit yourself to just waiting only for the for speaking through your hand, but also use the chat platform. I'm joined by my team who are here, who will be able to also, as I'm going through the presentation, they'll also be able to address any of the other areas which you might need clarity on, or just acknowledge any of the other areas which you might just be highlighting. So please feel free to always make sure that we make this session very interactive. This session is for you, and we just want to make sure that by the time we are done here, you are you are well versed in terms of what the program is we have in store for you, but also you've also raise those other aspects which you need clarity on. If we need to still go and highlight further some of the areas, we will do so. You'll see that we have this special open day for some of our special candidates. This is mainly for CIMA professionals, and how we have structured it such is that we acknowledge also the CIMA professionals who are interested in the two programs which we have. So what we'll be dealing with today is the CIMA2CA professional course, which is almost what we call a bridging course to iron out some of the technical aspect which is required in one to become a well-rounded expert in a particular subject area expert. And we also have the APC professional course for those candidates who are ready to already sit for the APC assessment this year. And I think in terms of the detail, we're going to go through it throughout the session. And maybe just also to highlight in terms of the availability of the course, the online team have confirmed with me that from tomorrow you will be able to now start applying or start registering for the CIMA2CA preparatory course. I thought I'll get that out of the way. So as I've already noted, my name is Ererwani. I'm joined by our CEO and also the academic head for the CIMA preparatory course. We thought that before we could also just get into the details of what we have in store for you for this year is to celebrate how the 2023 academic program has been for us. I'm also joined by one of our alumni. She contributed to some of the percentages here, or not, if not most of the percentages we have here. So in terms of our APC, in terms of the 2023, how the year has been, for us is just, I always like that stage, and I always say that the stage is that as we're going through this year, you must just know that the stage is yours, and then as the year comes to an end and as you progress in the different academic area you're at, it's for us to come together and just celebrate you. And this is what we have in trying to celebrate our cause for 2023, to say that in terms of some of the aspects, in terms of how we fared in the CIMA APC, in the CIMA APC results when they were released in Feb, is that we were able to achieve 57% pass rate, and we're very much proud of this percentages. It's not exactly where we want to be, but then we are very proud of it, because you can see that the national average was 52%, and we continue to be proud of such an achievement, because since the inception of EPC, we have always been above the national average, and this goes to show the different efforts our cohorts put into the program and the program structure we have towards making sure that you're successful, not only in the program, but also in the CIMA APC assessment. And also one of the other aspects is that we have also fared high. I think if you had a glance of, or even some of the feedback we would have had when there was just commentary in terms of the pass rate, you would have seen that there was also an area where we're still working towards, where you see that the national average of African candidates who were successful in APC was 39%, but then we managed to achieve 52%. This is again an area which we stand and just clap hands, and we celebrate the different cohorts who have made it possible for us to achieve that pass rate, which is way above the national average. The one which I'm just going to take a moment and pause and celebrate, because this really talks to you guys, some of you guys, and talk to maybe some of the questions which we've been getting from you guys, saying that how have you fared when it comes to the CIMA candidates, given that this is a new pathway which CIMA and CIMA has gotten in agreement of. We're very proud of our CIMA cohorts, given the different hurdles they have to go through, given the different the differences between the two professional bodies, which is CIMA and CIMA. So we're able to achieve 75% pass rates, meaning that on the for the cohorts who set for the CIMA APC 2023 assessment and who were coming through the CIMA pathway, we achieved 75%. This, again, we're very much proud of it, because this is another area where we're saying that for those CIMA candidates who wants to add this Chartered Accountancy SA membership, it should not be a hurdle. We just need to partner together, and let's make sure that next year we not only celebrating the likes of Shadi, but then we're celebrating you when you get to be successful, and make sure that we maintain that pass rate of 75%. Not only maintain it, we even get better at it. So we're very much proud of it, because we do also acknowledge the different investment which one needs to make sure that they are in alignment with CIMA by the time they sit for the APC assessment come the end of that particular year. Also, we are very much proud of some of our ICAS candidates when we're looking at how they fared in their APC assessment, where we managed to actually get the 3 candidates to be in the top 10. For us, this is really a good this is a testimony which just reflects the amount of hard work which the candidates who we partner with continue to put in, and also a testament of the comprehensive program which we prepare the candidates to make sure that they become this subject expert. I think as you get to interact with us, you'll hear that subject expert is one of the of the line which our academic head in the APC side likes, because say that in order for you to be successful, I think even when I was speaking on Shadi's slides, she noted that also you need to be a subject expert in all the areas, but that is still she's going to come through and share. And for us, having the 3 candidates being in the top 10 for the ICAS list, this is really testament of the hard work which they've put in and of the comprehensive program which they have committed to make sure that they fare well. And also in terms of the pass rate for our Indian and white candidates, there we also managed to achieve 100% pass rate, which is also above what the national average for CIMA2CA is. And over and above that is that, as I've noted, that this is our fifth year in existence. We have managed throughout the period to contribute at least 150 CAs in the professional body, in the CIMA professional body. And this is what we're still committed to doing, to making sure that we partner with you so that you get to add that designation to be part of your professional journey, to be part of your professional success, and to continue to partner with us to make sure that we contribute towards the profession at large. But also, one of the other aspects we do is that we, towards the end of the year, with the different partnership with the likes of Abasa, Gauteng, CIMA2CA, and Investec, we do host an APC workshop just to give the candidates that last mile preparation for the APC assessment. And this is one of the other aspects which we continuously are proud of, because this is where we also get to interact with a wider reach of candidates who just need that final last mile preparation. And through that workshop which we had in between October and November of 2023, the feedback which we've had is that we also managed to achieve plus minus 300 candidates, and at least a minimum of 300 candidates who were also successful in that workshop. So for us, really, and yes, we have these numbers, but for us is to make sure that we have a program which really empowers you beyond the assessment. And you'll get to see, even as you become part of the family, that for us is to empower you beyond the APC assessment, is to empower you in your at your workplace, is to empower you in the different areas of your life. That's why we also even go back to say that, yes, we have these numbers which we come just to show you how we have performed. But for us is that as you continue to be empowered, as you go through our program, you're not only just empowered for a particular assessment, but you're empowered as an individual. And you'll get to see some of the individual aspect we have in the program, because we consider you as an individual who will have individual needs which we'll need to attend to. So for us, this really is to say that before you also partner with us, just celebrate with us some of the achievement we had in 2023. And for us is to say that as we celebrate those achievements, is to also a hope for us to say that as we partner with you, we are sure that these different aspects we have here, they will even be more highlighted. And one of our candidates was saying that, after they have interacted with us in our program, they were just keen to just understand, to say that the passion which we see in this team, what really drives them. But then the candidate noted courage, I believe it was. He was like, no, I think I realized that, you know what, you guys are living by the name, which is really just to make sure that we empower someone. And for us is to say that Endunamoo means to empower someone, but as we continue to empower you, we also get empowered to go even on the next and on the extra mile, to go to the next step, to empower the next professional. So we thought we'll just take a moment and just showcase how the 2023 year has been, and for those different candidates who partnered with us, that truly we are grateful that they trusted us, they partnered with us on the journey. I think some of them will tell you that it's not an easy journey, but it's a great moment when we get to step back and say, you know what, yes, it was worth it. And for us, it's just that of saying that as you continue with, as you partner with us, as you consider partnering with us, is to say that, you know what, at the end of the day, we're going to take a step back and just highlight the stage and say, yes, the process might have seemed to be a bit difficult. It might have been a difficult road, but it was truly worth it. And as we will continue to add those tasks, as we continue to partner with you. So thought I would just share that with you. But I think one of the other aspects, as I was conversing with some of you, to say that I hear you, Bevan. You are qualified CGMA. Why this? Why do you want to go through this process? And it's just there also to say that, you know what, it's aiding that profession, which is well known as well. It's a good complementary as well to your designation for those who want to add the CASA designation in their as part of their profession, and also vice versa for those who want to also add CIMA. It's CIMA is the #1 global organization in accountancy when it comes to also the number of professionals. And also on the other hand, CIMA2CA, you would have seen that sometime last year, they were just celebrating to be one of the most trusted designation in the world. So it's those aspects which you just need to continuously reflect on and say, as you add, this really is a profession which will also give you open those other doors which you could not open. The dual membership is really a good opportunity for both chartered accountants and also for those CGMAs to add them together so that you can enhance your profession, and you can enhance and you can also tap into the different benefits you can have, whether it's tapping the benefits from a CIMA perspective or tapping the benefits from a CIMA perspective. And in terms of the agenda, it's not a lengthy agenda. So our agenda really, we're just going to go through brief introduction of Endunamoo, and I'm going to have the academic head who's going to come through, just talk about the different the programs. As I've noted that the programs which we're really going to talk about today is a CIMA2CA preparatory course and also the APC professional program. And towards the end, we'll also have Shadi, who's going to just come through. It's our alumni. His story is very interesting. I'm still in awe. But again, very much well done, Ms. Makuele, for the hard work. She's just going to come share with us in terms of how she navigated this journey of becoming a chartered accountant, adding it onto her already the membership of being a CGMA and the different other. She's got a very long name. I think she's Shadima Kuele, ACMA, CGMA, CASA. I wonder what else she's still adding. It's long, you know. So she's going to come through, just tell us about her journey. And then towards the end, I'm just going to go through in terms of the general information, in terms of the registration and the price information. So I'm just going to pause here if there is any other aspect we must. I don't see any comments on the chat platform. I don't see any hand raised as yet. But like I was saying, please, my team, they need some warm up. You must make sure that they don't sleep on the job. Ask those questions on the chat platforms. They will address to them. And also, if you have anything, just raise your hand. And then we will also just make sure that we attend to that. So I'm just going to go briefly in terms of our program. Oh, I see there. He says that please, he's just, I think he's waiting to make sure that no, I'm not asleep, but I would appreciate some questions coming my way or some clarity or some recognition if there is any other area you would just want to highlight to be a good area which we're doing, or if you've already interacted with us. Thank you, Mr. Mtero. In terms of who Endunamoo is, Endunamoo really is, it's this year we're celebrating our 11th year. Oh yeah, last year we celebrated our 10th year, and by in August we're gonna be celebrating our 11th year of existence. And this just also goes to show that we've been through the process, and we have we've acquired the knowledge and the experiences, and we continue to make those invaluable decisions as we continue to interact with you through the different programs we have. So this is really the family of transformation we have, that really Endunamoo, when it was formed, as we're saying, that what it means is really, it means to empower. And for us was just to empower the different professionals who will come to interact with us so that they get to be successful in whatever academic journey they will be in. And we've continuously grown over the year. But on my left, the first part there is Endunamoo Institute, which has evolved over the years, as we've seen, that as we continue to learn, as we continue to interact with our candidates, we continue to evolve and to ensure that we're relevant to our candidates. And when it was when Endunamoo was formed, was mainly to support CTA candidates, but we've really evolved outside of that. That now we even through our CTA material, we're able to also support the likes of you. You'll see that when you get to this APC aspect, one of the other competencies which are required is technical skills, which these technical skills are acquired through CTA. Hence, we're saying that even from a CIMA perspective, the CIMA candidates gets to benefit from that when they need to make sure that they fine-tune those technical skills which are required from an APC perspective. But also, over and above the CTA, as I've already noted, it also supports CTA and APC candidates, and it supports ITC candidates because when the candidates sit for the first board exam or the initial test of assessment, really some of the technical skills or the basics are assumed knowledge. So some of them need to still go back and tap into the CTA material. And the same still applies, as I was saying, that we also, in terms of the APC, yes, it's a professional assessment, but then it assumes that you have a certain level of technical skills. Hence, you'll also need to be referred back to those CTA videos, to those CTA material, to make sure that you fine tune, or you also get those basic principles which are required. Okay. And then the second program there, the second brand we have is the Endunamoo board course. This is mainly just, as I've noted, that it's mainly for our CTA candidates or the CTA graduate. After they pass the first assessment, they sit in the traditional CA route, will be the initial test of competence. And that's where the Endunamoo board course was born, when our candidates were saying that, yes, you have supported me through CTA, but I want you to go a step further and also support me in terms of the of my first board exam. And we have continuously are able to assist a number of candidates who come through either as first attempt candidates and also as repeat candidates, because we also have a very comprehensive program to make sure that the candidates who also get to partner with us on that board course, they also get to have a fair chance of success. And last but not least is our EPC, which this year, as I was noting, the 2023, some of the celebratory mode comes through this, the EPC, where we're saying that this is the last mile before one, in order for one to sit for before they become eligible to register as a chartered accountant. And this we have continuously make sure that the program we have also it really responds to what that expert professional, that well-rounded professional who thinks critically, who consider the different aspects of the decisions they need to make, consider really the different stakeholders they have to interact with to make sure that they make a well-informed decision. So this is where now our APC program sits, and this is where also where we're saying that we support different candidates, either SCAA candidates, CIMA candidates, and the APC first time and repeat candidates. And one of and as we're saying that the programs which we have in here will be also under the EPC professional course, which like I was saying, that this year we get to celebrate our 5th year of existence. Okay, I see some questions. Okay, yeah, I think Butle, I believe when Shadi comes in, she might be able to also tap into this question to say in terms of the number of hours one needs to invest in. I'm sure she'll also be able to assist a bit in terms of that. CIMA candidates who attempted APC 2023 suitable for this program are best to take EPC repeaters course. I think when our academic when Mr. Mutero comes through to also go through the program structure, I think he will be able to answer to that. But then as he's going through it, if it's not yet answered, just maybe do a thumbs up, and I'll also make sure that I also attend to it when he's going through the program structure and the different courses we have in that different structure. But this is a good question, Vincent, and it's a relevant question, and I believe that it will be responded to as we go through the program structure. Right, and in terms of the team who will be responsible for your development, or the team who I always call that these are your partners in making sure that you get to be successful. And I always say that partners because we strongly believe in a partnership perspective where you partner with us and we partner with you to make sure that you are successful. And you'll get to also even experience when I say that the team is a hands-on management team, you'll get to even experience it more, or even some of the feedback you can even ascertain from the other of some of our alumni. They'll get to testify what do we mean also when we say that we're hands-on management and passionate lecturing team. But in the middle there, we have our academic head, who's Fedi. He will be your best buddy because he will be asking you a question like, I didn't see you in class. He'll be wanting to understand why you are not why you're not available for a particular assessment. So really hands-on. And we also have our CEO who also makes sure that when we develop the different programs, I think you'll also see him on the CIMA program. He's a passionate professional lecturer who will also, you get to see his passion and the hands-on. You would have already, some of you would have even interacted with us, because this for us is to say that we are not, it's not you there and us here, but then we are partners in making sure that you become that well-rounded professional, in making sure that you get to achieve the different goals which you have set in your academic route. And coupled with that, Fedi is supported by this passionate lecturing team. The first one there is Mr. Malola Ason is very passionate about accounting. Yeah, I've never came across someone who's passionate about IFRI standards as much as he is. You'll get to see, and I'm hoping that his passion is also contagious, that though you might be saying that, no, you know what, I'm a STEAMA professionals, when you come to this different IFRI standard, they just another terminology on another level. But then he is that passionate that maybe perhaps some of his passion will be contagious on you, and you will become that well-rounded expert when one is asking, how then do we account for this list there at work? And you'll be the one who's no longer asking further questions, but you'll be the one who will now be providing that update of saying that this is how we account for it, this is how we measure for it, this is how we disclose for it. So Asan is very is very passionate about accounting. Fedi, as an academic head, he also specializes in audit, anything to do with governance, or the famous internal controls, which are there almost year in, year out in the CIMA assessment. And similarly, also in our assessments, you'll get to be passionate about those different controls. You'll get to be passionate about those different governance aspects in terms of you also becoming that well-rounded professional, even in the audit and governance aspects. And we have Dr. Elton. You'll see that as part of our APC professional course, one of the other aspects, which is, or one of the other critical area, which is important for one to be subject expert, is the critical thinking. So he will be the one who will be taking you through the critical thinking workshops, we are fully positive on what he gets to share with us. He has studied this. He's a doctor of it when it comes to critical thinking. So I'm sure that by the time you also go through the program, you'll also get to now also when you interact even on your at your professional level, that you'll be asking relevant questions and also responding in a more critical way to make sure that you're that well-rounded professional. But not only that, before you get there, you'll be able to ace those different task, or for now, let's call them the questions, which will be talking about critically analyze or a particular task, which will need you to make sure that you wear those different thinking hats he talks about. And we last and not least is Mr. Madodonke. He's passionate about text. He is also a text head at the current organization he works at. He's passionate about those different corporate rules, the corporate cases, and the vet and the different tax legislations, which is also a requirement as you sit for your different tax technical skills. You'll also make sure that you're well equipped so that when you see any of the task aspect on your assessment, you're able to address them sufficiently. Myself as the managing director, I make sure that whatever the academic head says that we're gonna do and we're gonna empower our candidates, I make sure that we have to make sure that we bring it into effect. If he says that we need to have a particular a set of material, I need to make sure that I make sure that the different professional team members adhere to that, hold accountable also my different team members to make sure that you are well supported and you focus on just developing those different skills, professional skills and technical skills to be that well-rounded professional. I'm supported by my caretaking team, Ms. Banda, who's our chief caretaker. She's also very passionate about making sure to say that, but when we're saying this, she's got, I call her our Mrs. Wellbeing for the candidate. So she has your best interest at heart. So whatever we do, she needs to make sure that how is this impacting the candidate's wellness? How are we making sure that we are not just burdening the candidates further? How do we alleviate any pressures which we're putting for the candidates? And she's also supported by Nontantla, who's our candidate caretaker. This is the caretaker who will, please partner with her as you join us. She'll be asking you that I checked that you didn't sit for a particular assessment. What has happened? She'll be checking on you how the sessions are going. She'll be checking up on you to say if you're still really you're getting taken care of, even from from the professional team members. If there's any other aspect, even from an administrative perspective, she'll always be there to assist you. Last but not least, you'll see that in terms of the online caretakers, we have multiple of them who will always be ready to make sure that they support you. And this is also mainly because you see that the program is also very much online based heavy. So we make sure that we have a team we have a team of staff who will make sure that you are never having issues in terms of making sure how do you access your material, if you're looking for a particular video, if there is any aspect in terms of your online learning platform that it's well cleared and you're well supported to make sure that you just get on the journey of making sure that you're that well-rounded professional. I'm just going to pause here to see if there is any questions, but I see that the ones which are coming through the chat, that they're being answered for, but I heard a voice. I don't know if, I don't see any hands though, but you're welcome to please raise your hand and we can see if we can attend to your question. You can go ahead, Masunwabe.
Good evening, colleagues. On my side, I wanted to ask, I did my CIMA, I finished it in 2021, and I am a qualified CGMA. But I wanted to ask now on the time frames of these two programs, if I would love to do both of them, which is being ready to attempt APC this year, how long will it take and how do they work? Because I'm currently based in Eastern Cape. So I wanted to know that, and also how much is both of them if I want to take both of them, since I think my technical knowledge now is a bit rusty.
It's a difficult one, but I think this is one of the question which Rendani is going to take and is going to clarify in terms of there are these two programs, which one will be more relevant for you, and then how do you make sure that you are well prepared for the CIMA2CA, not even for the CIMA2CA, you're well prepared first to get certified by Mr. Mukiti there as our academic head, and also making sure that once you're certified, you also are successful on the APC assessment. I think as he goes through the two programs, he will also just note in terms of what the question which you've asked. I think it's a very relevant question, but he's definitely going to answer it in terms of saying that we have the CIMA2CA preparatory course and we've got the APC professional program. But I think the first one, which I can already answer now, is to do them concurrently. Highly unlikely, because the two programs have got milestone each, and they can be a bit heavy for one to do both at the same time. But I think as he goes to through the program structure and what is the objective of each one of them, maybe also I think to tap back in terms of your professional, when you're saying that myself as a CIMA professional, and in terms of the technical skills which I have, the level which I have, what is the best program for me to enroll for, or can I do both? He will be able to iron that out. And I think once he's gone through the two programs, we'll definitely also engage further on that question.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Great. I think I am gonna let our Mr. Mtero, if you're able to take over from here. I think this also might also get to respond to the question which Masunwawe was also posing just now.
All right. No, thank you very much. And good evening, everyone. Good to have you here and to be talking to you on this exciting journey. So my name is Rendani. So as everyone has mentioned, I'm one of the management team as well as your lecturer when it comes to management, accounting, and finance. So that's where we will be engaging quite a lot together. But in addition, I also have an interest in accounting, and I do work with ASEN quite a lot. So that's just me. In terms of just understanding the two programs and how we've thought about it, it's very important to just then share that detail with you. And one of the things that we really acknowledge and recognize that sometimes it's really a personalized journey. And that's one of the things that our MD was just highlighting about how we do things. We really want to put offerings that are relevant, offerings that will add value, and not something simply that you'll just want to tick off as a checklist and say, I'm here for the certificate, and that's done. So when we were engaging with a lot of you, as well as just engaging with our course from last year, we realized that really three things were driving the success of different professionals within the program. And also when we started engaging with yourselves, we started understanding that even when you are making this decision, these are some of the three things that come on top of your list. And it's not different that some of these things are the ones that are coming up even tonight. So firstly, it's the academic background. Secondly, professional background. And thirdly, flexibility. So in making a decision in terms of which program do you go to, it should be about these three things on a personalized basis. So firstly, when I talk about background, academic background, is just to understand that how did you get here? All the way from your university studies. So what it means that I want you to say that I understand that APC has got some technical elements, that one cannot simply get through APC by just demonstrating the professional competencies, because the technical background or underlying that is incorporated in the task as well as the entire case study, it is sometimes quite rigorous. And one will therefore need to say, I know what IFRI says here, I know what text says here, and I will need to even open the text legislation or the text, the auditing handbooks and so on. So it's got that high level of technical in it. So when we talk about the academic background, one will need to say that, yes, I am a qualified professional accountant, but from a degree perspective, I got here through a BCom in financial management. I got here through a BCom in management accounting, or accounting that is general without the CIMA2CA specialization. So those are some of the routes that one could have taken. And in some other instances, some will have said that I've gone through the CA route, I got my undergraduate, I even attempted CTA, but I just didn't make it and I decided to pursue something else. Or I made it and went to attempt ITC, but it just didn't work out and I pursued something else. So that is what I'm talking about when I talk about academic background, that what kind of qualifications do you have and what kind of studies have you embarked on before you got here, because that matters quite a lot. So from our journey and experience and just understanding what you want, based on some of the questions you've posed to us, we have come to understand that someone who has done CTA, and even better that they've done ITC, as much as they didn't make it, they have now come to understand the technical rigor of the APC. They know how to navigate through a standard. They know how to navigate how to navigate through the legislation. So those things, they are quite familiar when it comes to them. And when they make a decision, they could say that for them, it makes sense to just jump into what? Into the main APC program. Then we've got candidates that might have been outside the CSA route. And those candidates will then be saying what? Will then be saying that I have an understanding that is expected of a professional accountant, but I've never used the standards before. I don't know what you mean when you say ISA 500, when you say ISA 315. I've heard of them. I've never needed to open any of the standard in my job or in my studies, but I've heard of them. So what we then do in the CIMA2CA prep is that we first bridge those gaps. So if you are there, you might say that I need the bridging of those gaps before I jump into the main APC program. So that's number one. Then number two, it is the professional background. So what do you do on a daily basis? Or what have you done before this point right here? So this is a very important question, since I think to also Buhle's point, that if now you have never dealt with an auditor, and now we are saying that the audit wants to undertake, an audit of an item of PPE. And this is the report that they've said they've given you a list of material differences, audit differences. So you, if you have dealt with auditors, you might say, I've seen this thing even at work. I know I've not done the standards, but I've seen this. So these things are familiar to me. And also when we say that we are now asking you to review a disclosure that has been prepared in order to comply with IFRS 16, and we ask you to review it, you could say that, no, I'm involved in preparation of financial statements, and this is some of the things that we do or that the auditors ask us to do on a regular basis. So that also is quite important, because sometimes, especially for some of you that have now climbed through the corporate ladder and you are seniors, you might find that by the time things come to you, they are really high level, and the level of technical rigor that is required in order to unpack those things are done maybe by your financial manager, by your financial accountant. And as much as you deal with them on a regular basis, you are not well versed to the extent that would be expected of you in the APC. And this is because the APC in its design, it assumes that the person sitting for it is in their final year of training, and after passing it, they will be joining the profession. So if we are assuming that's the person, you could say, because I'm a CFO, I know and I deal with all these things. But the question is, do you deal with them at a level of your juniors? And therefore, does the professional background support your technical, such that when we unpack it here at the office, in the program, it therefore makes sense? And another thing could be some of you might be in board positions and so on. And it might make more sense when we say write the key strategic consideration that one needs to make before we make a purchase, before we make an offer, before we invest in this. You could then say that those tasks, you can deal with them with your eyes closed. You've seen millions of board packs. You have engaged management on some of these issues so many times. So you've got that kind of professional background that is supportive of some of the things that you will see here. But in some cases, some of you could be saying, I'm in a management accounting position, and what I do is that I specialize in preparing budgets. So that means there could be a very big gap when it comes to accounting technical. There could be a big gap when it comes to audit technical, a big gap when it comes to tax or technical, that you need extra time to resolve those. And that's where professional background comes in. And then other one, again, thinking about Bushe's question, is it Masonwabe's question? It is around the flexibility, because the reality is that, especially if we're talking about you as CIMA members, your commitments are generally unstructured compared to, say, our trainee cohorts. Trainees, yes, they work hard and sometimes they've got long hours, but it's like they understand how their year looks like. They know that this manager, they can talk to them like this. But some of you are in those senior positions that it might not even make sense to your colleagues when you say, I need to take time off to just study. I need to take time off to sit for the case study and so on. And therefore, limiting your flexibility to invest time that is required in order to make this work. And then building on how far your technical is and what you then deal with on a regular basis at work, it might mean that you need a little bit more time, or you don't need as much more time when it comes to specific things. So it is very important that when you are making this decision, you take these three things into account. Because if you just simply say that, no, I've done ITC, no, I'm a financial accountant, but the question about time also comes in to say that, are you able to commit time around these times in the program? And therefore, are you able to commit so that you get the very best from the program and it's not simply a tick box exercise? So that is what I will want you to be mindful of when you make this call right here. And as I'm saying, it's a very personalized call. It is not a matter of, I saw this person did this and I'm doing this. You have to really think about it. But if you're unclear, either myself or our MD or the academic head are available. You can just talk to Nonhlanhla or Zelia and they will coordinate a session with you. Where now you can come and we can unpack that. If you're here, you are here, then this could be the gaps that you need to fill. Yes, if you then put so many hours given your schedule, you will be fine. Or we don't see it working out like this. Maybe it might make more sense, but at the end of the day, the decision will still be yours. But at least you will have had just different views around it. So that is something that's that I'll want you to just be mindful of. Okay. So I'm not sure if there are any follow-up questions on this, but otherwise, happy to just jump into the next slide and we'll then take questions then after. So these are then the two programs that we have. So we've got this, and these are just roughly plus or minus. So I'll just indicate how they work. So firstly, we've got the CIMA2CA prep course. And as I said, this is the one that is designed for professionals that have got limited academic and professional background with regards to the application of IFRS, ISAs, as well as the tax legislation. So the idea is that we will want to replicate, and let's call it a lighter version of CTA. We are not going to expect you to do CTA in 6 months. We will love to know that it's possible and so on, but we know that this is a very demanding course. And also we understand that we are not dealing with candidates who can come in morning, study the whole day, 8 hours, leave, and so on, but you will need to be juggling it with other aspects. So what we've then done is that we have now unpacked these to kick off in April. And we've just been debating back and forth the dates, but we are almost there because we were thinking about when is the best place to make sure that those that need this kind of program get it in full and are then able to join the APC program in the following year. So when it comes to this will then kick off immediately following the results of the CIMA strategic exams in April. So after that, we will be kicking off. Then we will journey with these candidates, and the program has been split into modules. So then what happens is that we will then select a few topics in accounting and tax, audit, and management accounting. The rationale for the selection will be based on what we believe will be crucial to helping you build the technical gap. And also, two, what we have seen is relevant and practical. So that scope, just to clarify, it's informed by one, there are some accounting standards that are very technical and they are technically good as learning standards. Where now, if we work through together on them, you are able to plug the thinking and the learning somewhere else. And therefore, we might then say we are not going to cover this particular standard because once we have covered this, you now know how to go through a standard. You want to start with the scope, objective, initial recognition, initial measurement, subsequent measurement. And now that you have that kind of thinking, we've got the confidence that you can build on it right here and there. Then in addition, we then are mindful that we need to help you to understand how to navigate this. So if I come to you and I say, we've been approached by data in our business, this data is saying is struggling, and the data wants to offer us shares in his company. so that we can forgive some of the debt. And now we ask you, how should you account for that? You will need to be able to say, because you are talking to me about shares, you need to refer to IFRS 9. Because you are talking to me about debt that needs to be forgiven or written off, you need to talk to me about this particular standard. Because you are talking to me about this and that and this, we need to think about that way. So we're going to help you in that program to understand the logic of the standards. So that next time when you're sitting with the auditors, next time you find yourself as a guest in an audit committee and they are battling it out with the auditors, you are able to see and follow and even make an input to such discussion. Then the same process we follow in the auditing journey, we follow in the tax journey. MEF, we just do it because we have to do it, but we know that when we talk about MEF, our CIMA professionals just light up. It's like they found the element. Like they love the strategy question. They do well in the strategy questions. And sometimes I find that they overdo it when now they give us paragraphs and paragraphs and so on because of just such excitement. But that's how that's how the CIMA2CA process work. And in it, the kind of question banks that you have are CTA ITC driven, because we just want you to get used to it so that when you join the main program next year and we've got ITC students and someone in class then says, but in ITC, I understand that we used to do it this way, you can be able to understand and follow that particular statement. Because the world of CIMA versus the world of what? Versus the world of traditional CA routes are sometimes a little bit different. And interestingly, when we complete the course, we then introduce you to the APC. And when we do the introduction, we are just saying that you are coming from the CIMA space. One of the fundamental difference that we know you have to adjust to, it is the time you have with the pre-seen material. In CIMA right now, we have the pre-seen for the sitting in August 2024. Imagine. And I'm sure you know and you loved that kind of arrangement, that even for the person writing in May, they've got that pre-seen. Oh, they're beginning it next week as the candidates. But what it means they've got a good 7 weeks to navigate through that and to even consult. But in the APC space, we are saying that pre-seen, we give it to you on Friday, and on Wednesday we are back. We are now dealing with it. So that it doesn't become a shock when you get to the main program, we introduce such things and we give you some mini learning case study when we conclude our CIMA2CA prep course, so that by the time you walk into the APC professional program in 2025, you are now well versed and expectant of what you need to see. So there are assessments that we make you go through. We mark, we give you feedback just to make sure your technical rigor is strong. It runs in blocks just to make sure that even from managing the time, you know that you're going to run the blocks now. Then we've got about 2 weeks break where you need to study and catch up. Then we've got tutorials to just help with entrenching some of the technical. So the detail around that will be issued as part of the timetable that we'll be releasing this week. Then the APC professional program will then kick off next year, Jan. So when it kicks off, it's got a foundation phase, which we have then designed to then say, we understand that now you've got the technical, but your technical, you got it in an accelerated manner. And we will want to ease you into the APC process. So we don't want you to then now say you are now ready. No, we still have you. We still want to support you. And then the APC program starts on a very light note. We've got a case study that we give to you. Then we spend time then working through how to apply all the technical in the context of the APC. And also, we don't really shock your system by saying you've got 5 days, but we take it even a step further and say that, oh, we know you're going to get 5 days later, but right now we are comfortable to give you 2 weeks. So work through this pre-scene over 2 weeks. So that is what is happening in the foundation, because we are focused on building those technical in the context of a case study assessment. And after that, then our main program kicks off in April. So even the course that we've got, tonight is their last class as part of their foundation. And after tonight's class, then they will be on a break until the 6th of April, when they come back into the main program. But when they get there, they are already ahead even from our traditional CTA ITC candidates. Why? Because they've now come to understand what the APC is all about. So when we go deeper into some of those things, it's even quite interesting that they are already ahead and are starting to think and bridging some of the things that they will have been introduced to in the foundation phase. And I'm going to talk more about the main program shortly. So if we go to that, okay, sure. Yeah, so this is what I was just talking about. The CIMA2CA prep, focus on CTA content, key topics, eases you into the APC professional assessment, and gives you that grounding that is necessary for your APC attempt. So that is how we think about it. Now, the main program. So you might be sitting here and saying that I'm here. I'm going to be doing this for the very first time. Oh, I did it last year and it didn't quite work out quite as well. And I'm going to be here repeating it again. So how does the program look like? And how should you then prepare yourself? So number one, our program has got 3 phases. We've got what we call the development phase. We've got the demonstration phase, and we've got the assessment phase. 3. And the naming is intentional in terms of what we are doing at each level. So when we talk about development phase, we are developing the pervasive and professional competencies that you will need as a professional accountant. And if we are saying you are already professional accountants, some of those things you already have. The pre-release for CIMA, it's about 15 pages. The one you did in the strategic case study, it's on average 29 pages to 30 pages. So when we talk about professional competencies like research skills, critical thinking, prioritization, business acumen, ethical leadership, these are some things that are very common for you. So when we develop them here, we will be just developing them in the context of the APC. So as a result, we then use one of CIMA's previous APC. In this year's program, we'll be using their 2017 adapted to reflect the 2024 circumstances and economy. So that is how the journey works. So when we say business acumen, we are talking about business acumen in the context of the APC. Because you could be thinking about business acumen as a board member, you could be thinking about business acumen as an entrepreneur, you could be thinking about business acumen as a management accountant. But how does it look like in the context of the APC? And the candidates that we journey with, they will know that we talk about document 1. Document A, email A, here, that's what we are talking about. So that's what we're going to help you to say, what is this document A? I want to make sure I'm able to apply these things that Rendani is talking about to document A. What does document A look like? And so on and so on. Then what we then have as milestones there is that there, because we are in developing phase, we've got you by the hand, we are hand holding at this particular point. And we then start discussing some of the previous tasks. So if we're talking about accounting, it's accounting in the context of the what? Of the APC. Then we're going to walk you through that and tell you that in this email, there is a trigger dealing with this thing. And we want you, or say, for instance, dealing with PPE or intangible. And these are the videos that you have on intangibles. Please go and watch them. And after you've watched them, you will then need to start thinking about this. So that's where the hand-holding comes in. So we got you there and we are giving you so detailed and the prescriptive kind of guidance. Then you then go and do those things. And we even said you are welcome to submit. And the submission just keeps you on track in the program. But if you're at a point where now you can say, no, I thought I had it, but I had a problem now because when I went to class with Asen was there and I was there. So I think I need to move closer. How do I? Then another personal component that we have, it's what? Is the consultation. So you can consult and you can even ask us as your team to mark and give you feedback that is personalized for you. Yes, the assessment is not designed for marking purposes or grading, but you are welcome to have it marked so that you start getting an idea of what you're doing right and what you're not doing right and how to go about fixing it. So that is the kind of milestone exercises that we've got. Then we are saying, now you have been developed. How do you apply this? Can we have you demonstrate this in the context of the APC? So we then give you parts of the case study, which we will have also adapted to the 2024 environment. And what do? We then say, here is the pre-release. Go and spend what? 2 weeks with it instead of the 5 days. Be mindful of this. Come and write it on a Saturday or over a weekend, and then we'll mark and we'll work through together. Because we just want to see you demonstrating what you've learned. So that submission does not count in our certification criteria. But what the usefulness of this exercise is that one, we expose you to the CIMA2CA software. This is the software that you use to write the actual APC in December. And one thing that I'll tell you now, you're going to be frustrated. It's technology after all. So you're going to be frustrated and you need to embrace that frustration early. We used to have that frustration later on at the assessment phase, but we've now brought it back so that we can frustrate you a little bit earlier and you can start getting used to it much earlier. And we are hoping that that will add quite a lot to your journey. So if you got Mac already frustrated, it does not work on MacBooks, start considering investing in what? In a Windows laptop. But those are the kind of preparation. So we are helping you to demonstrate competence in those kind of what? Environment. And again, this hand holding, but now we are patching a bit and saying that we want to see you doing this and demonstrating these things in this particular instance. And the stakes are not high, but we still want you to be as committed so that when we give you feedback, you can take that feedback and apply to it. I'm sure Shadi will tell you more about the frustration of the software. She wrote me many emails. We had so many meetings on it. So yeah, so it's one of those things, just so that you know now. Then we've got the assessment phase. In the assessment phase, there are 3 case studies that we'll work together on. And we just want you to demonstrate competence in 2 out of those 3 case studies. So how does that work? So the first one, we call it the baseline assessment. So we are recognizing that there's still some, what do you call it? Some brushing up to do. So the baseline eases you in. It's a little bit lighter in terms of the number of tasks, and we are recognizing also that it's part of the learning. So we are saying that, yeah, start there. We want to just see as a baseline what has been the efforts of our output in the development and demonstration phase. And that is your first opportunity to demonstrate competence. So you can get a C, a BC, an LC. Let's say these are the three outcomes that you can get in that case study. Then the second case study we are now calling the final case study, meaning that if you got BC and a C in case study number 1, we might then look at it and say you are now ready to tackle cycle. There's nothing else we can tell you. You have mastered this process. Go and start preparing for the final assessment. If you want, you can sit for the supplementary assessment, which is case study number 3. And the outcome of supplementary will not change the outcome final that we've already issued to you. Otherwise, if then case study 1 didn't go so well, you got an LC, then we are saying that depending on your outcome in the final, we are recognizing that there's been some improvement, but we still are saying that just write the supplementary one so that you can entrench these things. So depending on the LC and also on the final outcome, we will most likely then require you to sit for the supplementary assessment just to make sure that you've got or you've demonstrated competence in the final and the supplementary. When you write the supplementary, what then happens is you need to demonstrate competence for you to then get the certificate. So we've got a criteria around that which you can look at and you can discuss with that, but we also introduce it on our first lecture on the 6th of April, where we unpack it and we then go into detailed questions about what if I'm here, what if I do this, what this happens, what if I'm not able to sit. So those kind of discussion we always entertain, and we want everyone to have the utmost clarity when the journey actually kicks off. So this is on a high level, the structure of the program. So July to November, that's case study mode. And I'm going to talk more about the support at each level in our program next. Oh, before I get there, so on a high level, this is how the timetable looks like. So you will see that I was saying we're starting on the 6th. So that's number 1. We are going to define what is a competent professional accountant and how we plan to get you there. Then we have wellness session where we have sessions with our previous candidates, excuse me, and some of our external coaches that come talk to you about some of the things that they did and worked very well for them. And then we introduce you to the APC. We then talk about business acumen in the context of the APC, critical thinking, digital acumen, personal values, and so on and so on. So that is how it looks like right there in the development phase. So as you can see, in terms of the primary engagement points, those are how it looks like. So we have now captured them here so that if you are planning and saying, when am I expected to be active from a development perspective in the program, this is it. There are other aspects if you decide to join the mentorship, where you'll then have a calendar on the mentorship in terms of when does it kick off, when do we meet with your mentors, and so on. So those are separate, but as part of the core that everybody needs to go through, this is what this timetable has captured. There's the development phase, the demonstration phase. As you can see, we teach you how to identify triggers, how to do actions on them, how and what to research, how do you work with a team, all that we then do. Okay. If you can go to the next slide, please. Now, this is what captures the thinking in our program here. So when we talk about our program and we talk about what it does, how it does it say differently, we have now summarized it into 3 things that we want our program to do for you. 1, we want our program to help you excel as a CA. So we are not just thinking about you getting through APC, but we want you to be coming back here, and we are hearing that you are an executive at this particular place. You are starting this thing. You are doing these great things out there. We don't want you to just get your HCC in the program and that is the end of it. But we want you to really be a responsible business leader. Then number 2, we can't obviously ignore the APC. We want you to pass it with flying colors. So we want, like, imagine there's a CIMA top 10 candidate. Will that not be very, very interesting? Like, I mean, the kind of even message that it will send there about this dual designation, it will just be incredible. And also, you guys will be setting the tone to say, yeah, this is the way to actually do CA. You have to do it this way rather than that way. So imagine, so we want you to do really well, really, really well. And that's why we've got a couple more things that we do in order to get you there. Then lastly, it's important that you are not just a number in this program, but you are recognized. And that's why one of the things that the MD was emphasizing is our personalized approach, our commitment to be available to you. Yes, sometimes our schedule gets messed up, and it's always easier to then say, oh, Ere will then jump in, Fade will then jump in, or Fade is not available and then we'll jump in. So that's really something that we believe makes our program to stand out. If you have any concern, if you have any great things to say about the program, we are always there to listen, and we do appreciate that. So now the 3 things. How do we plan to help you to excel as a CA? So the business acumen that you will have already developed in your CIMA program is the one that will be further developing, further entrenching. And we do this, as you will have seen in the timetable, through bringing it in the context of the APC. And also we've got what we call business acumen webinars, where we invite industry leaders to come and talk to you about how they apply business acumen or think about business acumen in their spaces. So last year we had the CEO of Ever Electric, the providers of electric vehicles as a service. She even went a step further and say, you can even consider my company in your case study. It was quite an interesting one. Very, very interesting case study that we worked with her to develop. And she even came to then talk to the candidates about the background of that. So just to really take business acumen to the next level. Then we also like to recognize the public sector candidates, because sometimes being in a public sector, or if you're thinking in a public sector, sometimes it's easy to think that, but in the public sector, what's happening? What if I go there, will I not then lose the application of these things that I've invested time in? So we had a CFO from the pension administration last year who then came and just unpacked what their board position, their role really entails, and the kind of decision that they need to make and how they demonstrate business acumen in that role. Then this year, we even have a very interesting lineup. We've got even people that are not even CAs that we've lined up that are very interesting and interested to talk to you. Some of the key topics will be, what do you call it? Green economy in the context of the mining industry, We've got unpacking the general report that is presented by the Auditor General. We've got the payment. Well, as you can see, the buy now, pay later kind of system. So we've got a very strong lineup for this year that you will really enjoy. Critical thinking, it has already spoken about that, and how our resident doctor, Pullen, really unpacks what the critical thinking and what is expected of you as a decision maker, as well as a candidate in the program. Business writing, we've partnered with experts in writing. And this year we've structured the program to just make it more impactful from a CA perspective. So the people we've partnered with here, they've been supporting the Actuary Society in South Africa for a number of years now. They're experts in what they do. They are involved in writing books. They also lead a professional communication unit in the University of Cape Town. So these are people that really talk English properly, like they do it very nicely. So you'll get to see how to get there as a professional accountant as well. Then what about what? What about passing the APs with flying colors? So I've spoken about the assessment structure that we've got in our program. So how do we support you? Because our intention is to make sure you get through. We don't want you to get stuck in the program. We don't want you to go get stuck in the APC. We want you, when you've got that certificate and you are writing, you're saying that, shame, these guys, I know they've prepared me, and the least I could do is to give them top 10 position, right? I want you to have that kind of thinking. But then how do we do this or get them? One, we've got what we call a comprehensive support structure. After each and every case study, we issue what we call reflection packs. What is a reflection pack? A reflection pack is like a mind map, a journey on what we expected of you when you got the case study. How were you supposed to unpack the different emails, the different triggers, and what kind of work you needed to do individually as well as with your team. Okay, that's number one. Then afterwards, we then have what? We then have detailed feedback, not before we get to feedback, we then have detailed session where we then go through the IOD, even to the extent where we then project a script from one of the candidates. And we love the BC candidate because the BC is that one which feels good, but it's just not there. So we want to help you to avoid being such a candidate. The candidate that is good enough, but not quite there for a C. Because even if you look at CIMA2CA does not have an outcome of BC overall. So whenever they get BC, they moderate them up or down. In other words, they sit and say, this, it's good, but not good enough. Oh, this one is good and we like this, so this is actually good enough. So we then work through that kind of thinking to say, how do you then deal with information on the day? How do you respond? How do you then demonstrate competence? How do you use the reflection pack and the solution to assess your competence and be able to know whether you are in or not? Then we've got venue-based assessment. Because now we have 3 case studies, what we now have is all our case studies are going to be venue-based in 2024. So it means that when I spoke about the baseline, that's the first exposure to venue-based assessment. Why is that important? Because it's one thing to write this assessment at the comfort of your home and to go there and write with others. Why? Because there's always going to be an issue. We say this, we have speakers that come to talk about this, But one of the candidates that we had last week, she forgot her laptop. And I was like, why? Like how? So these things happen. So if you forget your laptop, just know you are in the right path. You have not missed the path. You are in the right path. So when, as I'm saying, when you start getting all this frustration with the venue-based assessment, the anxiety, so sometimes it's part of the journey that we want you to overcome, so that by the time you get to APC, CICA, or ICAS, you can then look at it and say, I've seen this all before. I know what to do. If I've got my laptop, I know what to do. Just go home and pick it up and let the assessment and continues. But we want to help you to develop that strong emotional resilience. CTA videos, you've got the full suite of CTA video from the moment you register. So if you register, say tomorrow, that's what you start with. The videos are organized based on, what do you call it? Topics, alphabetical order, and you are welcome to watch them and do them as and when you please. And the idea here is that if you know that your technical is not there, and you're saying that I know this thing, if I see revenue in this exam, I might freeze. Then we are saying start watching some revenue videos while you're bored, like having breakfast, maybe there, play me, I am the revenue guy. So you're gonna be enjoying, but it's a journey that I want you to enjoy. Then regular task, as you saw that the other milestones are there, that we want you to just commit to as we work through the previous cycle case study. We've got that mini case study that I've mentioned, and that I want you to also commit to get that feedback and start using that feedback in order to prepare yourself for the baseline. In addition, we've got WhatsApp and surveys that we do. So these are all things that we do in order to just make sure we are present and make sure you are well on your positive development journey. The WhatsApp, we are all there as the lecturing team and management to respond to your queries and make sure you get the support you need. So surveys, very important. Yes, we will love some positive feedback, but we tend to get some suggestion more. Last year we did Telegram, people didn't like it. We now had to go back to WhatsApp, so we are back in WhatsApp. One of the key feedback that we got was to just look at our business writing workshop in terms of just making them more impactful. So this year we are excited about what we've put together with those language experts. The other feedback was the number of cases that we did. We had 4 case studies last year. One of the feedback was just the time to reflect, learn, consult, and get value from each case study. So we've now dropped 1 case study in order to just make sure the program is quite impactful. So for us, all these things are not lip service, but these are the things that we are really committed to seeing add value to you and your journey with us. Then in terms of being recognized as an individual, 1, we've got private consultations. One of the things that we are formalizing this year is now adding them to our timetables so that you know and plan carefully as to when they happen, and therefore if you want to book in advance, you can do so. Then we've got personalized marking feedback. Our marking feedback, we've now taken it to a next level, where now when you submit a script, you then get 1 combined script. Previously, if there are 8 tasks, you'll get 8 separate documents. We have now challenged ourselves to improve that process. Now you're gonna get all the documents that is marked by 16 CAs. Yes, that's how important you are. 16 CAs are gonna be marking your script. So you have to have very nice things to say to them. So what then happens is that 1, we've got marker 1 that marks, then marker 2 then comes and review. So each and every line you put there on your script, we are going to give you feedback in terms of why it's valid and why it's not valid. So we want you to start thinking like that I don't want to be told this thing is not valid. So let me get this right and make sure that these guys only have praise to say about my scripts. Then in addition, we've also enhanced our feedback report. You then get this beautifully designed report, which then just summarizes everything all together, signed off by our team leaders, more CAs in the process, and also our academic head. So your script, how important it is, it's like a president's script here in the program because it's reviewed, or the feedback that you got, it has about 20 CAs that are involved. So that's how serious we take you, right? But then we've got personalized mentorship. If you want a mentor in this journey, our mentorship kicks off around May. So you can apply to be allocated a mentor, and then we take it from there. Caretaking engagements. Zelia and Nonhlanhla are always there with you throughout the program. They'll be checking up on you, and even our academic head and MD will also be checking up on you. We've got coaching, and this year we're specifically focused on helping you work as an effective team and time management. Then if you are one of those that's set for the 2023 APC, we will then be including a personalized script review process for you at no additional charge. So that is how our program is really designed. So that is how it works. Are there any questions before I hand it back to the team? So just to Tafadzwa. So Tafadzwa, yes, so this year we are accredited by ICAS. So as part of the accreditation, we'll be one, hosting venue-based assessment in Zim, and number two, the case study that you write will have Zim geographical context, economic context, as well as aligned to what to the business to this business and other entities Companies Act, as well as the tax legislation there. So that is part of what? That is part of our journey for 2024. So very excited. So hoping to get to meet you sometime there. So if you are based in Zim, even right now, it's because you said I'm from Zim. So if you are based there, we will also be doing a special open day soon, just for the Zim courts. So I'm sure we'll get to meet each other then. But I'll be saying the same thing. I don't know whether you will want to come. But yeah, just kidding though. But then Ryan, venue-based assessment, will this be also applicable to CIMA professional outside South Africa? So just to talk about the outside the criteria. So in terms of the criteria, we have for international, the minimum that it needs to get to, it's 50 students for us to make the arrangements. But when it comes to South Africa, the minimum it needs to get to, it's at 10. So any area or region where we've got at least 10 candidates in South Africa, we do go. But internationally, our threshold is 50. So if you're in Zim, that threshold we have reached, so we'll definitely be coming to Zim. And in terms of the venue, we will be not too far from ICA's side. So we'll still be navigating our Zim, but that's where we'll be. And then for the other regions, we are not there at 50. So unfortunately, from an economic perspective, it does not, it's not something we've planned for 2024. But what it means, we still cater for you via the online assessments. So you'll still be subjected to this. We'll do take into account time differences, and it's something that we'll then communicate with you early on, just to say that, yeah, this is how it works. But if you are finding that you're concerned about yours, you are more than welcome to drop us an email and we can give you an upfront answer so that you can plan and understand how we do things. We are just always mindful of the timing difference and the exposure of the case study to you before a particular time. So those are the things that if you want more guidance or clarity, you are welcome to email us. Do we have to buy textbooks? Oh, thank you. Then on this slide right here, this is just a snapshot of our EPC candidate community and also the script. So you can see what I was talking about when I say each and every line. So this is the kind of feedback that you get. So you can see that our academic head here was engaging, just thank you for attaching as required, but where is the conclusion? Or the what? Yes, the conclusion. Good that you checked as it is part of the review, but you do not need to tell us. We want to review comments only. So this is the kind of feedback that you get. So you will laugh at yourself sometime. It's an interesting journey. You will wonder whether it's your script, because what you are writing sometimes is a little bit shocking. But after case study 1, 2, you'll realize the kind of difference that this kind of commitment, review, reflection, consultation can help you do. One of the things that we've also improved this year is just our engagement with our candidates. We've now adopted quite a lot of Microsoft processes. This will be Microsoft Forms, OneDrive. We've also have now booking more structured to make it easy to book consultations. And we've upgraded our online player to Vimeo. If Shadi was a student, I'm sure she'll be very happy about that. So this is a much more advanced compared to the previous tool that we've got. So really exciting things that we've got here that one will definitely look forward to. And I think that's it from my side. Just to confirm, MD, is there any slide I've got? Or is it Shadi's turn? I think Shadi comes in here.
You are very right. Shadi comes in here. I think I'm missing something, Shadi, on your name here. You've got a very long name. I think I want to copy some of those if you can copy them. But otherwise, very much welcome, Shadi. I'm looking forward to this chat. It's a conversation. Make sure that you interact with her. But don't make her stay here for long. When we shared this congratulation flyer with her, it was for us, like I was saying, she'll tell you a journey. Her journey for me, it's an interesting one. But I think it's a journey which I call it's persistence, commitment, hard work, and it ended in ACMA, CGMA, CSA, MDP. And I was wondering, how were you doing MDP and doing the program? I think Shadi's time probably is longer than, she's got more than 24 hours, but maybe just a bit of a background, but she'll also just share in terms of herself is that she's an executive at BCX. She's eligible to register as CSA, and she has studied as you can see, like I was saying, the MDP program through Business School. She's been with Endunamoo. She's part of Endunamoo, you know, those old desks. So she's been at Endunamoo for a while. And before then, she completed a CIMA, and she did also some of the studies at UKZN and UNESA. And before becoming an executive at BCX, she was a finance manager. And I think for us, I'm just trying to also paint it for some of the candidates who are also coming through to say that someone who studied CIMA, what kind of roles do they also get to occupy? And what do they get? Who's Shadi, and how did she really get to be here? So I'm just going to hand over to her, and she's just going to take you through in terms of her journey to becoming this long ACMA, CGMA, CSA loading, and MDP.
Yeah, good evening, Ella, and thank you very much. I think we just haven't expressed ourselves in terms of really appreciating yourself, Rendani, Fedi as management. And indeed, I resonate with your tag that says you're hands-on. The lecturers are definitely passionate about it, all of them, like literally all of them. And of course the support that we get, the empathetic support. I think I'm one of those that received it for a good 6 years, right? But I'll talk about it, and a special greeting to the candidates that are here tonight. I was sitting here at some point, I think in 2022, and almost overwhelmed by all of this. But I think in hindsight, it was definitely all worth it. And I'll just take you through. I hope I don't really take too much of your time. And yeah, so once again, thanks, Ele, for that intro. I think more to it, I just wanted to give a background of the person behind that educational and career background, just so I give you a sense of the fact that you are a human being after all, and there's all these demands, but you're gonna have to do certain sacrifices as you walk through this journey. So I'm a mother of 2 boys, very energetic boys, 7 and 4. They've got a hectic schedule that's more than their own working mom. I think those that have got children at that age will definitely resonate with that. My eldest son was starting his grade 1 last year, which is I guess the greatest milestone for early childhood development, right? So I knew that I had to be present for 200% of his academic journey, right? And over and above, I had just landed myself a job as an executive at BCX, so there was a requirement to at least perform or at least show that I was the right candidate for the job. I'm a leader in my community, my church community, and life generally just deals, right? Life deals. So I think at that time I knew that one, I had to develop a very strong mental resilience, and secondly, I needed to make sure that I've got the best support, right? Both from my on the personal side and the fact that I had to use what I have available in Endunamoo. So technically, all of that was who I was. Added to that, I was also doing an MDP, which was a program that was designed for my previous employer that I decided I wasn't going to drop off from. So I'll carry it over to my new job in BCX. So you can almost imagine, right? All of that was demanding me. And that's why I resonate with the quote that says, you always have to know that that's something that's inside of you that's greater than the obstacle that you think you have, right? And in hindsight, I think a lot of people ask me, how did you do it? Ella just asked, how did you do it? But it took a lot of sacrifice, a lot, and I mean a lot. I generally had an 18-month life of sleeping 5 hours per day, every day of my life. I got so used to sleeping for only 5 hours. I don't even want to talk about when we got to towards the exams. But again, they will take you through the program. There were some times where I knew that I needed to rest, and all that, and you adjust yourself accordingly. But the sacrifice I had to make was exactly that I knew that every day of my life had to have studies in it. So maybe just to give a little bit of where I started with my academic journey with Endunamoo, or my partnership with Endunamoo. So when CICA and CIMA first announced their agreement, right? Initially it was about writing ITC, so we exempted from APC. So it was about writing ITC. So I thought, oh great, now I can hop onto this thing. Was enthusiastic, went in. I registered CTA 2018. Right? So 2018, I realized how hectic this thing is, right? And my eldest son was probably just 2 years, if not just less than 2 years, right? So yeah, all of a sudden, all of this was a shock. There's classes, there's this, there's that. 2018, I never got to write any test. I never got to write any exam. I thought, no, I can't do this. Okay. 2019, that passion came back again. I thought, okay, let me do CTA program once again in preparation for the ITC. And that didn't work, right? Again. Then moved on again. Then I thought, okay, maybe this time around, let me go to ITC. So I registered with their course again, 2019 ITC. That didn't work. So you should see my study. It has all these files, right, that I was getting from Endunamoo. ITC 2020, that didn't work. Behind that, you must remember there is Rendani, that every time I have to go back and say, oh, Rendani, I'm sorry, this time around I was giving birth. It was this. So I had all excuses around this. I think when they then changed to the agreement between SACA and CIMA being around APC, I thought, you know what? Maybe, just maybe because I've got a CIMA background, this might just work, right? Acknowledging from the previous, well, I would say failed attempt from my side, was that there was this technical issue that kept on making me drop out, because I realized that given my job where I was senior level, I was really not dealing a lot with technical issues, right? So I realized that that is an aspect I needed to address. And so this program, the CIMA2CA program, was the best thing ever. And I would advise you guys, right? Please don't rush into getting into the APC preparation. Just take it as it comes. Believe it or not, you will see at the end, my personal goal that started in 2022 that now has translated into what it is. So all of that, I realized that, well, at the end of the day, Rendani, Ere, Fedi, everybody has done what they needed to do at that time. But it was me that was becoming this problem for them to achieve what they needed to achieve. So I wasn't writing the exam so I don't mess up their percentage. So I kept not doing anything at all. But come to this one, I thought, okay, I have to instill certain disciplines within my life, because I realized it's not going to change. I'm moving up the corporate ladder. It's becoming more demanding. My kids are also growing. They're becoming more demanding, and all of that. So then I thought, okay, let me now really do this. And I think this moves me to some of my success strategies, right? And there's very other salient issues that I had to deal with. You would take them for granted, right? I bought this big calendar where I took the timetable. I literally physically wrote very important dates, exam dates, class dates, where I knew that I can't miss this one because my technical gap is wide. I literally jotted them down there. So that psychologically meant I can't have some social life that's going to disturb all of that. I even had to jot down where my helper goes home and it's a weekend where I have to go to class. So I can quickly plug in support. So the lady that was supporting me actually got the brief at the beginning of this whole thing that you're going to come month end of March, you're going to come month end of May, and. So all of those type of things, I kind of put them for myself. Now into the academic program itself. Getting this head start is so important. It's so critical. I can't overemphasize that part. One, it gave me a strong foundation, really strong foundation. I got to have a deeper understanding of some of the fundamental principles that I needed. And like I said, I knew that I had technical issues that I needed to deal with. So the program kind of literally helped me so that when it starts becoming more advanced, I pivot with it. So I made sure that at least what is being given as that head start for me, I literally start off at that time, right? I'll talk to you about the cheat sheet. My cheat sheet started in this course where I started having these little jotted down concepts, principles that I eventually used in December 2023 when I wrote my my APC. Then the second thing is that I started cultivating the culture of discipline, right? And like I said to you, I realized that I wasn't the one that was disciplined. And please do not take this for granted. I know that you've done CIMA, some of you not so long ago, but the reality that comes with this program is that it really, really needs your persistence. It needs discipline. So in my case, what I used to do is, I mean, I had to sit my children down, right? The 6 years as he was, and the other one 3 year, plus my helper in the house, to tell them that I'm embarking on this program and I'm going to need you to support me. So this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to be studying Monday to Friday, right? Every evening, I'm studying 2 hours, 3 hours every day, literally, right? And some of the times I'll have class, some of the times is actually the actual studying, right? But the fact is the 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock time slot, regardless of whether it was class or it was anything, it was for me to actually catch up on my studies. The benefit for the kids was that come Sunday, it's our quality time, right? So we're gonna have quality time. So if you see mommy walking around on a Tuesday, you might say, mommy, go back and study, because you're thinking, I cannot use Sunday to catch up. So that was how I really started cultivating my discipline and persistence. And because I was also having MDP plus the program, so I kind of really got into the rhythm. Everybody around me knew I'm unavailable, and eventually that worked to my advantage. Again, given this head start, the academic performance, I cannot take it for granted. I really can't take it for granted. For me, like I said, it started giving me the confidence to really engage with the lecturers. Also within my group, I was starting to become confident to speak technically, particularly around auditing. I knew that, I mean, the reason why I decided to abandon the whole CA route back then, 20 years ago, was because I thought I don't like auditing. So I'm going to pivot into something else. Here I am, I'm circling back to it, and I'm like, oh, it's still that feeling. But at the same time, I thought, well, that feeling, girl, you're going to have to get over it somehow. And how you do that is literally you're going to immerse yourself into it. You're actually going to engage in the group. I always chose to lead on accounting or on auditing, and abandoned the math, not because I abandoned it per se, but I kind of thought, well, the principles around math and MANEC is things that I know, right? So catching up on that for me was a breather, probably. But all the other gaps where I decided I'm going to engage, I'm going to ask Fedi, I'm going to ask Rendani, and my goodness, the support that I got is immeasurable. As they say, it is a personalized course. I would get those calls from Fedi that, Shadi, where are you? I didn't see you in the class. I hope you are catching up on the videos. So yeah, so that was typically the life. But again, getting this head start reduced my stress levels. It really did, because the original stress level, like I say, is the technical aspect. The fact that the reality is that where I am, my job was not literally cultivating that technical aspect. It had been a while that I did my BCom, my CIMA for that matter. I mean, I qualified around 2015 or something like that. So by the time I actually ended up writing the exam, I must be honest that my confidence level technically had literally been enhanced because of all these progressive things that I was putting together. And like I say, plan your support properly, and literally sacrifice that it's just going to be this time, and you're going to do it once and for all and finish. Now, I put load shedding here. It is a reality. It is standard. It's becoming a norm. Plan for it. Because what technically happens a lot is that as a group, you come in, you have load shedding, and another one doesn't, and eventually you slow each other down, right? So some of these things really plan for them and plan for them properly. I remember that I had to sacrifice some of my savings to put an inverter, because I realized that the generator I have makes noise. At 10 o'clock, I have to switch it off because I'm in a gated community. So I had to do some of those things. And that's why I'm saying this Head Start period is so important, because then it alleviates all other administrative issues that you have. Moving on to the masteries that I call them my little masteries, right? So if you move to the next slide, thank you, Ellie. Again here, I did not skip any phase, and that's why I'm saying that for those of you that maybe assuming that you're a CIMA candidate, you've probably done something of this nature, and I would really advise, coming from somebody that just did it, and like I say, I spent 6 years of the 10 years that Ellie was talking about being at Endunamoo. And I had to follow the program to the T. I did not miss any phase. I tried to stick to all material that's given, and so please don't do that, because you miss demonstration phase. By the time you get to this other phase, it's you are lost. You miss this one in particular, where you're going to have these fundamental concepts. By the time it really gets advanced, you are at a back foot, because you literally have to fast track. So the 2 hours that I was talking about now for you becomes 4 hours. It then becomes a cumbersome program for you. Then the one other thing that I had to learn through these phases as well was, as an individual, I had the art of trigger identification. So as they teach those things, really pay attention. They really, really help. I mean, I look at my journey of over the 4 exams. I wrote 4 exams, and I'll tell you about it. So I wrote all 4 exams. And from the onset, and this was because you almost started getting all of this in this course. By the time you start into your and the development phase and all the phases that they spoke about, by the time you really start with your assessment, you now have started mastering how to identify triggers, because if you can't, you may find yourself going into a rabbit hole. So that part, please, it was my, I would call it my win. Even my group, they would tell me that, when it comes to Shadi and trigger identification, we are always spot on. So they leverage from that piece. The research part, again, pay attention to that, because it's going to now really start structuring you properly, which is what happened with me. I started knowing what to research, and I never used to go into a rabbit hole. I mean, I would have my team who would talk to me that, oh, well, I did IFRS 11 up until, and I'm like, IFRS 11? No, we're not supposed to do that, right? So those things become really, really critical. And once you have identified those triggers, for me, I knew that I had to be an expert in those triggers. I did not leave anything out. I made sure that if recognition is triggered, I understand it in and out, right? And that comes with the practice as you move along. And that's why I'm saying you cannot haphazardly do this. You gotta get into a discipline that makes you study and persist into this whole thing. And like I said earlier, that I started having this file management from a very early stage, right? In fact, from this stage, I remember the NPV principles. I started at this stage where I could tell that, okay, in an NPV working, this is what you need, so that by the time they say critically review, I'm not starting with what does an NPV require? I'm already thinking, okay, critically thinking that, okay, why did we have this? Is my why clear? And all of that. And that's why I'm saying this is a collective thing that you really have to start with, immerse yourself into this up until the end. Again, what made me succeed, honestly, was now the whole fact that, given where my job, where the level of my job, the CIMA background, it started really starting to help me have the art of being able to connect the pre-release information that we are given, the information on the day, and marrying those two things, the technical principles that I had, and I think it progressively started to show itself by the 3rd exam, right? And time management, please do not underestimate this trait. And I'm glad that Rendani and them are literally having something dedicated around that. But from my side, what I started doing from the onset was that if we're given a test and the test says it's an hour, I literally stick to that hour. If I haven't finished, I haven't finished, but I stick to that hour. And that practice, as I did it throughout, I've never had a time where I didn't respond to a task, which would have landed me into an NC, which is a non-competent. So from the onset, I knew that, okay, if I don't respond to a task, literally I'm not competent, and probably even my work helped me, because when I delegate some work and somebody tells me that I couldn't do it, I literally lose it, right? So back into my studies, I thought, let me not do that to myself. From the onset, I'm going to have time management, including how I engage with the lecturers. I need to stick to my time, know exactly what it is that I need to ask them about. It can be a fluffy conversation. The group as well, I used to also do that. So moving on to the team composition, right? So we had started at CIMA candidates together, right? Just like yourselves, you're probably going to work together. You start building a rapport, and by the time we then move into the APC course, you almost don't want to lose each other, and that's what happened with our team. Unfortunately, because I had personal goals, right? I had a personal goal, and this is a personal journey. Believe it or not, it is a personal journey. So I knew that having CIMA candidates only is not going to work. It's really not going to work. And my team was so resistant until a time where I thought, you know what, I need to confront the animal in the room. It's either I'm going to be the one that leaves, um, or they're going to have to find ways that we incorporate other people into the team. And yeah, so eventually I convinced the team, and we then started having people from different industry, mainstream audit, and we were also having another group that was slightly diverse to ours, where we were actually just exchanging with each other some ideas. So we're almost leveraging on that team. It wasn't necessarily the composition, but we were using all these channels, to really try and do that. Look, I mean, like I say, this is a personal journey. You have to have those expectations that you need to have with your team. I certainly had, and I remember in my team, I had to do the uncommon and the unthinkable to address a team member that wasn't committing, because I knew that we're going to have this person bringing us all down. And unfortunately, I had to speak to that person, and we had to let them go from our team, right? Because the reality is that you're going to find that you are as weak as your weakest team member. So have those personal expectations. What are those things that you really want to do with your team members? Leverage on these diverse skills that you get from your team. But most importantly, what worked for me was that at all times I made sure that I research the entire tasks for myself, right? So that whoever is leading a topic, and I'm intentional by saying leading, because, oftentimes you find that people just break down these triggers and then they give somebody else, and someone else goes and research. I knew that combination is not going to work for me. One, because remember my technical concepts, right? I'm somewhere, but I'm not really there, right? So I need to be sure that when somebody comes and feeds back, I can engage with those things. So it's very important that you don't let this slip out of your hands, that you make sure that whenever you get to that point, research things for yourself. That's what worked for me. In terms of also what also helped, moving on to the next slide, Ele, is all the other things that I now started making them my progressive effort over and above what I spoke about. There's CTA videos that are available. I made sure that at the very least, from the beginning, at this stage for that matter, right? I knew the technical concepts that I was still struggling with. I kind of looked through the CTA videos, and I knew, okay, these are the videos I needed to look at. And then together with that calendar, I almost made a timetable that says, on this day, you're going to look at accounting, IFRS 16 concepts. Maybe IFRS 16 was too complex for me. I kind of left it a little bit. But I started with refreshers, PPE, some of these, get into the hang of things, and together with what the lecturers would also be doing, then I would try and incorporate that. But those CTA videos are they are the bomb if you really want to refresh on your technical skill. I would definitely recommend, right, together with your standards, obviously. And I always reviewed what the reflection packs that Rendane spoke about. I always made sure I did that, even if I did not do them at the right time. But I always made sure that there is no way that I'm going to get into class having not reflected on that, because in that way I almost start realizing where my shortfalls are, what was expected out of me as an expert. Because remember, I thought I was an expert when I went into the exam, and then I come back, my results are something else. And maybe just to give you a sense of how my progressive results were. My first exam, I got all LCs, right? So less than competent, all of them. And I came back and I thought, whew, do I quit or do I continue, right? But at the time, I knew, I set myself a goal. I said, I'm not doing this to myself, let alone to have to look at Rendani, Ele, and Fedi and say, I'm dropping out again. Then the second exam, at least there was some slight improvement. I think I got borderline competent. The confidence was coming, thinking, great stuff. Then the third exam, again, there is that progression. Now I'm starting to see BCs, especially in the I would say where I was having my own personal gaps, which is accounting and auditing. So I'm starting to go borderline. The math is a straight C, and then I'm still having LCs there and there. Then I was fortunate enough to be given a concession certificate to write my the supplementary, and I knew this is do or die, like do or die. I gotta throw in everything into it, and which I did. Even at work, they knew. I told my boss that, listen, I think this is do or die. If ever all the other times you required my time, this time, no, I have to do it, right? So go into this. Okay, the results come in. I think now I'm starting to have fewer LCs, and I'm thinking, okay, now if I've got these LCs, the BCs, maybe if I can appeal those BCs, I can get a C, and you start having that hang. But like I say, all of these are progressive. You cannot find yourself in that phase without having really understood how these things work and putting them all together. So that was my little journey with my EPC, and eventually I was awarded the certificate, and that's how I finally wrote the APC. In some instances, I had to do the questions again, especially where I realized that, look, you are still not okay with the review videos, the specimen solution. You really don't get it. Sit yourself down under exam condition on a Saturday. I think the program was having slight breaks there and there, and those breaks for me, I used them to kind of try again to attempt some of the questions. Attending those business writing sessions is equally important. I think oftentimes as candidates, we almost think that this is not really so academic and all. It is super important. It helps you how to write how to address the board and all of those type of things, and they really mean a lot. They mean a lot. From a wellness perspective, I had my little wellness as well, but Endunamoo does have. I'm a runner, so in all of that thing, I used to run. I remember Fedi at the beginning was saying, "Yeah, you're gonna have to sacrifice the gym," and I thought, "Yo, I'm gonna battle with this Fedi, because for my mental health, I need to run." So this is how I ran. I was listening to Rendani or listening to Austin while running, right? But because I'm running and it's faster, I couldn't listen to them slower, so I have to put it faster. So 1.25, 1.5, and I'm running in the morning. But it just became a culture that I had where whatever time that I can maximize in studying, I would definitely do that. And of course, I was engaging lecturers. Please do not be scared to do that. As CIMA candidates, you're probably going to get to a point where you're having the mainstream candidates who are probably more technically astute, and you almost feel like, oh, I don't think I can ask this question. Please feel free, ask the questions. There is nothing as a stupid question, nothing at all, because it does help you. Book those time slots with the lecturers. Use them to your benefit. I don't know. I even say to them, I don't even know what to say to them, because like I say, I've had this 6-year stint with them where you would expect that they would have given up on me, right? But they never did. In all the instances, they were so consistent, if not even more, um, um, with the support that they gave me. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's really what made me succeed the APC journey. And I nicely just put how my 2023 looked like. Like I say, in June 2022, if you see that little note, I had put it on my printer. And every now and then, even when I'm working and I look at it, I'm like, hey, just remember, wrap up your meetings because CASA must load in February 2024, right? So I had that little thing. Then there's obviously being a mom. So there's certain times where I'm like, oh, I need to study. And I wish I could tell this person that please disappear, but they can't disappear. They're just right there silently with Cocomelon. Sometimes I would ask them to put their own headphones and then they would fall asleep there. Have to ferry them into their room. So that was part of my life. But somehow I needed to find ways to navigate through life because life doesn't stop. Enter July 2023, there I was, got MDP that even motivated me more to really start pushing that CA loading. And I put everything into it after July. I said, listen, you know what? Now I don't have divided attention. I'm already used to this. Now my time is really available for APC preparation. And yeah, that little note there was me getting the EPC certificate, and I thought, yay, we are ready to go. My goal is about to be achieved. And here we are. If you look at 2024, February, and 2022, I achieved all of that. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Thank you so much, Ele. I don't know if there are any comments or questions.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Yeah, truly, truly thank you for that. And I was just saying that, it's also one of the other parts which you noted was saying that.
Ele, you went on mute.
Oh, sorry about that. I was saying that I like the part where you're saying that you also did your own reflection to say that, of course, I think one of the other areas which our candidates are struggling with is to that, do I go straight into doing my APC program already now, or do I do what I call the bridging course for those technical gaps? And it's that part which Randani was just talking, that this is a personalized journey. For some people, they can just already go straight into the APC program, but then you need to do your own self-reflection and know that, are you ready for the APC program? Where are your technical skills at? And as you plan out throughout the year, you need to do that. You just need to make sure that those checks and balances and commitment are aligned. There's just one question for you there in the chat. Zianda just want to understand if you did any CICA articles prior to writing APC exam, as you went through the CIMA designation. As far as I understand, not, but I think you can just respond to her on that, or him.
Yeah, and thanks for that, Zianda. So just a quick stint on my CIMA journey and the transitioning. So I didn't do articles. Like I said before, that I got to a point where I said auditing is not my thing, so I'm going to pivot to something different. So I moved on to become honors, and I specialized in both financial accounting and management accounting, and that's how I progressed into CIMA, and then got my CIMA then. And of course, we go through that whole proving your professional what was that thing again? But yeah, so I had to obviously showcase that, at least from a competency framework, that I've covered all of that through my work. So that's all that I did through my CIMA. So I've never actually done any CICA articles.
Thank you very much, Shadi. Truly appreciate again taking the time just to come share with our potential cohorts, and we look forward to partnering with them. Don't worry, you don't have to sit for 4 assessments like Shadi did. Fedi this time around, he was kind enough. I think we only have a maximum of 3. So I think that's one
lucky
of the
you.
That's one of the other aspects which we considered in terms of the feedback, which Ndan was also saying that for us, we engage with our candidates. It's a personalized journey. We engage with our candidates and we do reflect, and where changes are necessary to do, we implement as soon as we can. But otherwise, thank you so much, Shadi. Truly appreciate you having you here.
Thank you so much, and all the best to all of you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think just the last quote there from Shadi was just saying perseverance is not a long race. It is many short races, one after another. And I think I can see, Shadi, from that you're a runner there, saying that, you know what, we don't have to be running 42 on a daily basis. We can just do our 5Ks every day. And that's sufficient. It adds up to that marathon. And I think that also just what's saying now that, you don't have to be thinking about that now you have to understand everything from task A to task H, but it's one task at a time.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ele. I actually made a joke to Fedi, and I said, Fedi, the way the program actually mentally stretched me, I'm definitely going for comrades. So yeah.
see, we're building professionals even outside of the program, outside of the profession even.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Yes. And I think in terms of thank you, Shad. In terms of what we also still had in store in store for you in terms of the general information, given the time, we are not going to really dwell much on it, but I think one of the bigger aspects, as Renan has noted, that the registration for the CIMA preparatory course is going to be released by Wednesday. By end of this week, I guess by end of Friday. So you'll be able to register from there. I know a couple of you have already interacted with, and you're looking forward to already registering. So please just bear with us until Friday, and you should be able to register then. But in terms of any other aspect for the program, you're also welcome to just drop the caretakers. And I think one of the other aspects, just to emphasize too, as we wrap up for the evening, is to say that if you are that CIMA professional and you don't know which program to do, and if you still one of the other aspects which we link to is these 3 aspects which Renani spoke about. But please do not be all by yourself. Reach out to any of our caretakers. We will definitely do have a one-on-one with you to see how we can better structure, or not better structure, how we can better assist you in making that decision. But that decision really from our perspective of saying that, do you start with the CIMA preparatory course and then do the APC in 2025? It's really based on these 3 aspects. And but then if you still need that guidance, please reach out to our caretakers. Myself, I'm available to make sure that we'll just book a session and we will talk through it. And the team also is here to support me to make sure that you don't just feel alone there making the decision, but you make a decision which is gonna be more relevant and more effective for you. But otherwise, for the evening, we're gonna keep it here to make sure that we don't keep you long. But in terms of any other general information, in terms of the registration process, the prices and all of that, the information is available on our website. For the APC professional program, it is there available on our website. And in terms of the CIMA, the CIMA preparatory course, the information is going to be available by the end of Friday. Otherwise, we'll keep it here, and please email the recording, joined late and missed most parts. No problem at all. As long as you had registered for the open day, we'll make sure that we avail the recording to you in full, and you'll be able to just, and if there's anything else, you're welcome to just touch base with us, and we'll assist accordingly. Otherwise, have a good night, and we'll keep it here. I hope that the session was as informative, but otherwise also, as I've noted, please do not be strangers. Reach out, and we're here to walk the journey with you. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one too.
Cheers.